If you're looking for tips on how to achieve an unmedicated birth, then you're in the right place. In this video, I'm gonna show you my top 7 tips that helped me achieve my epidural-free birth. If you don't know me, my name's Jess, and on The Innovative Mama, you'll find helpful videos about pregnancy and babies. So make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell so you can check out new videos as soon as they're uploaded. So let's get into my 7 tips for a natural unmedicated labor. Tip number 1 is to educate yourself. This is hands down one of the best things you can possibly do to prepare for your birth. I would 100% recommend taking some kind of birth course, whether it's in person or online. My husband and I opted to take an online course. We love the idea of going at our own pace and completing the course from the comfort of our own home. The course we took was called Love Your Labor, which I would very highly recommend. I will leave a link down below so you can check that out. But I found this course to be very thorough, and I thought it did an amazing job in educating my husband and I about the birthing process and how to prepare for a natural childbirth. If you'd prefer to do a class in person, then check with your local hospital or OBGYN office for some recommendations. The next tip I have is to read tons of positive birth stories. Oftentimes we hear horror stories about childbirth, which can make the idea of giving birth really scary. So definitely seek out those positive stories and completely stay away from the negative ones. I will link my positive epidural-free birth story in the description box and also above, so you can check that out as well. Also, Ina May Gaskin's Guide to Childbirth was an amazing book that was filled with positive birth stories. So I'll also link that down below so you can check that out, but I highly, highly recommend picking that up too. Tip number 3 is to prepare alternate pain management techniques. If you're planning to give birth without an epidural, you'll definitely want to prepare some ways to cope with the labor pain. One thing that worked really well for me was counter pressure techniques. So basically when I was having a contraction, my husband would press the heel of his hand into the lower part of my back, and it would help to offset the pain of the contractions. Another thing I used a lot during labor was the comb technique. So this one's really interesting. Basically, you just take a fine-tooth comb in the palm of your hand and squeeze it really hard during a contraction. So a comb can actually help hit acupressure points in your hand, and it also plays into what's called the gate control pain theory, which states that the brain can only focus on a select number of sensations at a time. So because the nerve endings are closer on your hand, they reach your brain faster, which helps your body forget about the contractions. Now, by no means am I saying that this will take your contractions away, but it definitely seemed to help, at least for me. Another tool I loved during my labor was my birthing ball. Because I had to be induced, I needed to be hooked up to monitors constantly, so I had limited mobility and I was confined to the space right next to my bed. Laying down for me was extremely uncomfortable during labor, so being able to bounce and move around on the birthing ball was definitely a lifesaver for me. This also gave my husband access to my back in order to apply the counter pressure. I would definitely recommend trying some of these techniques before you actually go into labor. They might not work for everyone, but these are just the ones that I found to be most helpful. So tip number 4 is to assemble your birth team. I chose to have my husband and my mom with me during my labor. My mom had 2 epidural-free births, so I knew I wanted her there because she knew what I was going through. Whoever you choose to be in the room, just make sure you're 100% comfortable with them being there and they're aware of what you want so that they can help support you and advocate for you during your labor. Make sure you also make your wishes known to your doctor or midwife and birthing staff so that you're all on the same page with what you want. So the next tip might sound a little cheesy, but it actually really helped me. I actually made a birth vision board for my birth. So I put some inspirational birthing quotes, pictures of special people who had passed away, who I consider to be like my guardian angels, and then pictures that represented positive birth experiences. You can put whatever you think would be motivating or comforting to you on yours. I put mine on the wall in front of my bed, and this gave me something to focus on in order to stay positive and motivated during labor and pushing. Tip number 6 is to find positive birth affirmations. You can either read them to yourself, say them out loud, or have your partner read them to you. I actually have a free printable that I'll link down below of positive labor affirmation cards, so be sure to check that out. I found them to be really helpful to go through in the beginning of my labor, just to keep those positive thoughts flowing and fresh in my mind. Tip number 7 is to simply remember that your body was literally designed to give birth. Have faith in your body and what it can do. I never felt as empowered as I did after giving birth. As exhausted as I was, it was seriously the most amazing feeling. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please hit the like button and make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more pregnancy and baby videos. Drop a comment below on which tip you found to be the most helpful, or if you know of any other helpful tips for achieving a natural unmedicated birth. Also, definitely be sure to check out theinnovativemama.com for more pregnancy and birthing tips. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.